right, everyone. We need, I think we want to do some big cliffs. So what I want to do is have some big ass rocks that poke out of the water to kind of make it feel a little bit more unique. Make that shore a little bit more interesting. So we're going to create a level 3 scenery kind of level here. And it's already kind of got what we need. So it's always a good idea when we start out to have something with our character so we can understand scale, because scale is essential. Without a proper good sense of scale, your sizes can really get wonky. So we're just going to import our reference. And we also want a nice floor reference so we know where our 0 point is. Kind of like that. So there's our 0 point, and there's our height. So we want a big ass rock on a cliff. You know, I'm thinking something about that in terms of size. And then we want to make sure that it's kind of pointy or whatever. So we can do something like this. You know, just stupid shit like that. And what would you just call this? Rock? Like, what else would you call this? Sharp rock? That would be kind of what it is, right? Um, yeah, what do you call that? Just sharp boulder? Sharp boulder is probably a little bit better description. SM, sharp, boulder. Oh, one. Same thing here. And it's kind of just random. We're just kind of figuring out what the hell we're doing. But these things are going to poke out of the water. Maybe we have some in the land as well. Just to kind of make it look kind of interesting. And to just figure out how the shape works. Think that's okay? Let's see what these three are like. And we'll play around with them. And if we like them, we'll continue. But basically, the trick here is to make some really nice, sharp boulders that will poke out of certain landscapes. And maybe we can even utilize them in other scenes. So we still have our beach asset here. And then we should be able to import those other assets. Oh, fuck. Hold on. I made a mistake. These are all in FBX format. We can't do FBX. So I screwed up. Okay. I think I deleted them. Why did I delete them? It's fine. We'll just import them all again. What the fuck? Oh, I'm clicking the wrong thing. That's what's happening here. My bad, guys. Then we're going to import to right there. Okay, so there's all three. You export this as an OBJ. Asset, lock in. Sharp. Boulder. Just like that. And then we can go into our ZBrush file, and we should be able to get this in. We're going to duplicate, import. Oh. Assets. We want to go into block-ins. We'll just search sharp. Boulder. Oh, we got some thunder outside. Brace for impact. There's our lovely boulders. Obviously, we can't work on it like this, so we're just going to go ahead and split the parts. And we'll just hide one thing after another. There's our first sort of rock system here. Doesn't really look like anything right now, but it gives us a shape and something to play with. So we can just go straight into Z remesh right here. And we want to make this maybe about 40K. And there we go. Now we have tons of geometry to play with. And the scale is so massive, we need to fix our drawing. So scale of 0.2 is no good. We're going to set it to 5. And that gives us a really nice in-between. You can start pulling different shapes out of this. Trying to make this thing feel a little bit more realistic. Okay, well, that doesn't really look like a rock. Well, we're just getting the shape started. It will look more like a rock in no time. Let me just go into our H tool, and we just want to make sure our focal shift is very favorable to one side, and that's going to allow us to get the most out of this sculpt. So we can come in here now. Let's see what we got here. And we should be okay. And now we can carve some really sharp edges into this. Because that's what the primary goal of this is, to get nice, sharp, and jagged rocks out of this. That's what we're looking for. Just gradually carve away. Yeah. You can already see the effects that this is having. And again, we're still kind of in the early stages, but you can start to see how we went from something that kind of looked like a blob into something that's got jagged peaks. And how that kind of works. I don't know what we're going to do if the power goes out other than call the stream off, obviously, but there's a non-zero chance we might have a power outage. There's no rain, but I mean, rain isn't the issue with electrical storms. It's the thunder and lightning. So if we get a lightning strike and our power dips, you've been warned that can happen. Yeah, that's looking real nice. I think we're also going to try and do some gameplay adjustments today. Yeah, I think we can get some gameplay adjustments done as well. That's going to look really good when it's half submerged in water, I think. But we're not done yet. So we're going to hit divide one time. Then we're going to add some details that will kind of help bring this thing a little bit more lifelike. And so that's going to be in our surface detail. And we've done a bunch of rocks like this before. So there's not really anything new going on here. Although this is a problem. Because the scale is so big. Okay. Let's try... We're only at 200,000. We can probably unwrap this thing. Let's turn the noise off for just a second. And let's go ahead and go into the UV master and try and unwrap this thing. We'll see what happens. I think it's going to be fine, but it will take a little bit of time loading in order to get this thing unwrapped. We are getting the old unresponsive shit, but it'll be fine. So, I think it worked. We go into our plugins here, and we're just going to hit flatten. For better or for worse, it seemed to have worked. You can also go into UV map and hit morph UV. You can see how that works. Yoink. So, now when we go into our surface level and we load up that texture, we get this annoying grid because this thing was not designed for tiling correctly. And we're maxed out on our scale. So if I kept going there, I just get smaller and smaller and smaller. And I don't have a whole lot of control into making it bigger, more sustainable. So what we have to do is go into the UV side. And now I can do stuff like this. Now I got nice control over it. And I can play with the strength as much as I need to. Implement something like that. Hit OK. Gives it just a nice little bit of extra texture to it. A little bit of like erosion. And then we want to make this a lot bigger. And do the same thing. And then we just got to put a little bit of noise over it. So we're going to take this guy here. That's pretty much exactly how we want it. And then we just keep applying that until we get the right amount of noise. And there's our first boulder. Looking pretty good. You can then export this out under rocks, taking asset. This is the first one. We're just going to go underscore high. Very basic stuff. There we go. Now we also do want to make a low poly version of this, so we should go into our decimation tool. There we go. And yeah, we gotta make this look a little bit more presentable, so. Blow that up. Why is the C intensity so low? And it's the same process again. So just polish away and shave off faces, because that's kind of the best way to do a rock, is to just hack crude chunks out of it. And then we can kind of carve that down. And yeah, you can just start to see the really fun shapes you can make out of this thing. Really nice. Let's see how that goes. Let's see how that is. Yeah, that's really nice. And you were just kind of winging it almost. They almost kind of remind me. I don't know if you guys are familiar with. Well, you probably are. It's a pretty popular series, but like the Dark Souls, kind of like slime slugs, the big spikes coming out of them. That's what this rock kind of reminds me of. It's got a little bit of that in it. Yeah, we can just carve really nice shapes. All right. Then we can go and do our UV unwrap again. Unwrap. Let's give that a minute to work itself out. Yeah, so that should be good. And then, yeah, it's the same tactics we did last time. Nothing crazy. Sort of like a medium erosion and then a large erosion. And this also works to soften as well some of the jaggedness that we put in there. Just a little bit of a softer touch. But it makes it all feel a lot more believable. Even though we do have that line there, I'm hoping that this kind of covers it up. It doesn't really. I can manually just kind of go over this. It's like a little magical eraser. There we go. Rock number 2 done. This one might be my favorite starting shape. Look at that. That's even more cool. Get that down to something reasonable. There we go. Let's see. I may have botched this one. May have screwed up already. We'll find out. I'm hoping we didn't, but we may have botched this. That doesn't look too bad, actually. There we go. That's looking pretty nice. Now, I want to inflate this section here a little bit. Give this a little bit more life. That's just gonna give us a little bit more grace, because you don't want to have your faces pulling past each other. So even though the end goal of this is to be sharp, we still need thickness. We don't want it to be a piece of paper. Kind of like that. There we go. Come on. That looks really cool, actually. That's a really cool shape. Welcome in, whoever you are. Tomboy, welcome in. GM, GM. Just gonna... There. Extra pointy rocks. Much delicious. Yes. So, what happens? Good enough. It's going to look kind of ugly, but we'll make it happen. We'll make it work. So, how do we get this in? Now, this thing should be let's see, where's the line? It's kind of caked all over. You can really see it there. Now we have to make sure we need at least 200k geometry. That's looking okay. This is the only thing I don't care for. That may have just been enough to fix it. Okay. So now we got this fun little spiky guy. Let's go ahead and give him a little bit more noise. We're just going to change this to be... that. There we go. Good enough. So this is 03. And then we want to also make a decimation because we changed this enough that we need to recreate it. I'm all over the place today. That looks pretty good. O2. All right, so now that we have that done, it's just a matter of retopologizing it, putting it into the getting it baked and textured, and then we'll slap it into Substance Painter. Or Unreal Engine, sorry. Just want to make sure we have all high poly models here. And then we can begin the process. Lovely asset. But it's not very efficient with its triangles. This has about 4,000 triangles. We can probably make it to like 500. Quite easily. So we'll start with this point here. This is the high point. Something like that. And then you just kind of work your way through the model. We need another one there. To give it a little bit more life here. Unfortunately, there's no real shape here that has any real meaning. This is just pure, like, this isn't a sculpture of like a character. You don't have to worry about like muscles. This is just pointy rocks. And pointy rocks is easy. That already looks a lot better. There we go. Beautiful. So we basically just kind of got to cover this whole thing. Get this thing reduced. Actually, no, this is a fair amount. I was going to say maybe we should go even lower poly. But I do want to have some silhouette. So the less detail you put in the model, obviously the less it's going to look like the original thing. Now we do have baking, so we are going to pull a lot of those textures back in. But we still have an issue with the model not taking the silhouette, which is going to harm the appearance pretty significantly. Especially for assets like this, which are also just a little bit more in the background. You're not going to see a lot of the big details that get baked into the normal map, because the normal map is more on the surface when you look at it. So it's important to make sure we don't sacrifice the silhouette of the model, just to save on a couple triangles, or in this case, polygons. You don't really get farther ahead with that. So it is important to make sure that that stays nice. Beautiful. Let's get this point in. Yeah, that's good there. Beautiful. I love when it all kind of fits together. It really helps make the whole thing feel a lot better. There we go. Like I said, I like when it all kind of just fits together and feels really good. All these pieces are just, it's like putting together a jigsaw puzzle. They all just kind of fit really nicely together. There we go. That's what we want. Hmm. So that will fit with that. It all connects. All right. Now this stuff here, there's a lot less jagged points here. So we can actually afford to go quite a bit more lenient with how some of this stuff is assembled. I think. Right there. Beautiful. I was watching a video today about Grand Theft Auto 6. And everyone is saying this is going to be one of the largest video game releases of all time. And I don't know if I'm in a bubble, but I have not seen any hype for like I know some people are excited for it, but I don't see regular people posting about how awesome it's going to be. I haven't seen anything about GTA 5 or anything Rockstar. Like some Red Dead stuff, I see the odd appreciation post for Rockstar with Red Dead Redemption 2, which was their last game. But everyone's going like the hype is through the roof, and I'm just like, I don't see it at all. Like, I just don't see where that's coming from. I'm not disputing it. I don't see it. I don't see people posting about it going, oh my God. I've never really been a huge Rockstar person in general. But lots of people are. But yeah, they were talking about how people in the industry are going to freak out because they think that Rockstar's success could wipe out other studios because other studios can't hit the same milestones. And I don't really know if that would be the case, other than it would force, like, usually what happens when you have a big breakout success is it forces the competitors in the industry to adapt to what you're pulling off. That being said, Grand Theft Auto is unique because there is not a whole lot of Grand Theft Auto knockoffs. Saints Row was probably the last one, which was in direct response to Grand Theft Auto 4, I believe. But I don't know what that's going to translate to. There's our rock. $1,000 faces. So we went from 4,000 to 1,000. So 75% reduction. That's not bad. Now we just got to open this bitch up. So this thing right now... Why the fuck does it always change my settings? Okay, so there's our little UV, which is basically just a 2D version of this. Think of it like a chocolate Santa. Now we just need to cut the edges so that it can actually flatten himself out. There we go. Does this need to... I don't think so. I think it'll be fine. I think if we just cut along here, we'll be okay. If we cut along here, we'll be okay. You are not hyped for GTA 6. I like I said, I'm not a huge Rockstar fan in general because I think their gameplay kind of sucks. I don't have fun playing their games. Their shooting mechanics aren't very good. But people are like, someone tried to make this claim, and I don't see any organic hype at all on social media. So I don't know where those claims are coming from. I'm not saying you can't be excited for the game if people are. I don't see it. Which, again, there hasn't been news about Grand Theft Auto in years, like over a year, I think now. So obviously there wouldn't be a lot of people talking about it, but that's how you gauge hype. So I don't know where the claims are coming from that GTA 6 is going to be some massive, other than just it's GTA. So precedent would say it would. The potential price tag. Yeah. That can be a problem. Though in Canada, everything's always been super expensive as is. Would that impact sales? I don't think it would, to be honest. Not at least launch sales. If anything, I think a higher price tag is going to just it will result in maybe slower adoption. So the people who are super excited about Grand Theft Auto 6, they're going to buy it day one. It doesn't matter if it's $100, if it's $150. They'll figure it out. They'll buy it day one. It'll be the people who are kind of like, yeah, it looks kind of good, but the wait and see people, the people who would typically pick it up maybe like a month or two after, it might hinder those sales. But it would have a strong launch, and then I feel like it would taper off pretty quickly. Unless it's like just insanely well received. I would say good, but I don't think it needs to be good. I just think people need to have the perception that it's good. And that will be sufficient. in my opinion. I just don't like how clunky they are. Like, the way you move around, it's very animation heavy. So it feels like you don't actually control a lot of your character, because you have to accommodate for its animation system, at least in the modern ones. It was a little less animation heavy, obviously, in the older games. And I feel like I appreciate more responsive controls over having fancy animation. So, like, as the character runs forward, right? When you stop running forward, your character doesn't just abruptly stop. He will slow down and then stop and have a little bit of a recovery animation. And it's like, while that is more realistic, certainly, what winds up happening is you have a good 3/4 of a second where you're just not in control of your character, unless you want to put the input in again. But it just feels like there's less responsiveness. And that's just one of the examples. Like, there's a bunch of different examples. It's a similar style to, like, how Uncharted does a lot of its stuff, which I think Uncharted, I don't know if Uncharted came before GTA 4. I feel like it did. I can't remember when GTA 4 came out. It was either 2007 or 2009 or 2008. I think it was 2007. So they may have came out around the same time. But I do not like that animation system. And a lot of modern games use that too. Dragon's Dogma uses it. I don't care for it too much. Monster Hunter does a little bit. But Monster Hunter still feels decently responsive. In some ways less so, but I prefer to just be able to stop abruptly. I prefer to have more control over my character. I think Rockstar is probably marketing a narrative. Yeah, they probably could be. I mean, that's probably the best way to do it. You want to sell hype, make a bunch of shit up. It's not a bad strategy. Um, Depends what reviews you go to, Tomboy. I don't know how reliable reviews are going to be in the future, to be honest. I'm finding YouTubers less and less reliable with their reviews, especially after the whole Kingdom Come Deliverance thing. I'm kind of like, ugh. You can just tell when people are putting stuff out there because they think that's what's going to resonate with their audience. It's like, yeah, can certain games have Well, GTA will definitely have liberal bullshit in there. Will that make it woke? Not necessarily, because there's been liberal bullshit in GTA since probably the first one. I know 4 had a bunch of liberal bullshit in it, so obviously that's not going to change with 6. The question, though, is it going to be preachy, retarded nonsense? It might be, to be honest. Like, I know the one chick is a Mexican. So what are the odds that it's going to be... There's going to be immigration themes? And it'll be preachy about immigration and how, like, no person is illegal or something like that. I could see that being a theme in GTA 6. They're typically not as, like, heavy-handed as, like, Far Cry. Far Cry was pretty preachy in their past few installments. Not that they're the same type of game, but I just mean, like, if you want a basis for preachy political sandbox games, Far Cry would be probably the most egregious offender on record, outside of maybe the last Saints Row. But it's tough to say. But yeah, almost every, like, more and more, I just kind of noticed that it's just everyone's kind of got their own little niche carved out on YouTube, and so they just kind of, they're more interested in feeding that niche than it is about anything that's kind of objective, especially from people who claim to be objective. I think there is a very I don't know if you want to call it dishonest, but there's a certain element of the people who kind of go they claim to be like the centrists, so they're unbiased or whatever. And they tend to be more biased than most people are. They just pretend that they don't have a bias. So, yeah, we will have to see. But I'm probably not picking up Grand Theft Auto 6 either way, to be honest. I just don't think I care about it enough. Especially if it looks organic, yeah. Honestly, I think the good games have come out already. I don't know what else is coming out this year that I would look forward to. I think Monster Hunter was kind of like, I'm enjoying the post game and it's better, but it's still, Monster Hunter was kind of a dud. I don't know. It kind of, to me, it's sitting where Dragon's Dogma 2 is sitting. Where it's like, it's fun to play for a bit, but I don't know if it's got... I don't think it's got the same life that Worlds does, or Worlds did. I don't think it's going to be as good for longevity. And honestly, Capcom really screwed the pooch when they made Rise. Like, Rise was the canary in the coal mine. I don't even know what the hell they were thinking. They must have already made the deal with Nintendo before making that game, because it doesn't make any sense why you'd have the biggest selling game you've ever had in your franchise history, and then you immediately follow up with a sequel that isn't even on the platform that you put the first game on. Like, that just... What the fuck? Capcom is retarded. And again, my only explanation for that is they must have already struck a deal with Nintendo. I don't hate Nintendo. Nintendo's fine, but why the... Like, I think they later released Rise for console. I don't know if they did or not, but it was still one of the most terrible, objectively terrible strategies you could have ever done. Because I don't know, like, Rise was a commercial success, but it was nowhere near as big as Worlds was. Far Cry 6, yeah. Far Cry 5, is that the one that takes place in the South? Hold on, let me look up the Far Cries real quick. I don't remember how they go. I never played any of them. I just know they got really preachy and political because Adam Sessler Far Cry 6 was, yeah, was Gustavo Fring playing basically being Trump, well, completely not knowing how Trump is or how he functions. It's so funny for people who have spent so much time obsessing over the Orange Man. They really don't understand his motives or how he operates. You would think if the guy lives that rent-free in your head, you would actually understand him a little bit, but maybe that's part of the deal. I don't know. But yeah, Far Cry 6 was that one. And then 5 must have been the southern one. And then I thought that one came after. I didn't realize Far Cry 6 was the other one. Okay. That was an interesting choice, though, because Far Cry typically does like really big exotic jungle areas, and I think it's more like a swamp in 5, right? Like it's the bayou, I think. So that's an interesting twist to that. I'll admit that much. It's definitely a risk. But yeah, Everyone says 6 was really bad. But that's Ubisoft for you. Ubisoft is beyond help. They got tremendous brain rot over there. I know people who work at the Toronto one, and they say, like, it's been a while since I talked to them, but I'd say I haven't talked to them since the pandemic, actually. But I would say before that, yeah, they were saying, like, they really just started shifting away from making quality stuff and just trying to do their retarded bullshit. But also, Toronto's a pretty damn liberal hellhole. It's gone to every city in Canada's really nosedived over the past 10 years. In terms of being safe, in terms of just being clean and general maintenance. Run into the ground. I think that's kind of everywhere, though. A lot of cities are becoming shitholes. Montana, so that's mountains. Okay. Montana's a weird one. Like, it's a very beautiful nature, but virtually no attention to it. But yeah, very beautiful state. But again, it's kind of quote unquote flyover country, right? I think. Maybe not. I don't know if that gets classified as flyover state. Like Wisconsin would be. But I guess people just aren't super appreciative of nature. Generally. All right. So that's the model. Oh no, let's see what that cut's like. Yeah, that's fine for the most part. There's a little bit of jank here. But, actually, no, we want to cut this. This needs a little bit more breathe. There. That's better. One left. I labeled this wrong. I got them mixed up somehow. My blind ass. Yeah, Montana would be a nice little like ranch in Montana, covered in mountains. Bald eagles everywhere. Perfect. I don't actually know if there's a bunch of bald eagles all over the place, but I imagine there's a lot of bald eagles in Montana. Yeah, mountainous regions are typically very low population. Because they just suck to maneuver around. And people who like to be around people all the time, they love it, but people who like the sound of silence, Montana's a good place. So is Alaska. To be honest, Alaska's pretty dope. The only problem with Alaska is obviously the weather. Cold climate typically means, especially for me now that I'm older, the weather affects my energy levels pretty significantly. So when it's cold out, I definitely feel a lot less energetic and productive. Or when it's warm out, I feel like getting a lot more shit done. And I'm a lot more productive. So I would say, like, I would have loved to move to a place like Alaska maybe 10 years ago. But now I'm kind of like, I'm over this snow shit. I don't really like hot weather either, but at least you can have air conditioning and it's not a problem. Let's see here. That's all right. Yeah, that's fine. It's not the cleanest work, but it'll be fine. Alaska has a lot of bald eagles. Yeah, I guess they don't mind. Well, if they're usually mountainous, they probably can handle cold weather without any issue. So that makes sense. I wonder what the limit is for some animals, though. Like, where do they start to panic about how cold it is? It's like a lot of dogs can handle pretty cold weather as well. But I imagine depending on the breed, though. But like a German Shepherd, I wonder how good its coat does in something like really freaking cold weather. We've had some pretty cold winters here. And I don't recall ever having, because we used to have German Shepherd dogs. I don't recall ever having to bring the dog in the house because it was too cold outside. We didn't want him to freeze outside. I don't recall that ever being a thing. Buck cold, yeah. Agreed. I used to appreciate it. All right. Sounds like the thunder stopped. So I think we're in the clear in terms of power outages. There we go. Huskies can, yeah, I think most, like, bigger dogs like a husky can handle snow fine. I'm just curious, like, how cold does it have to be? Because, like, snow is one thing, but, like, snow and then, like, Alaska snow is a completely different thing. Snow is also a good insulator. You can actually, uh, what we used to do quite a bit is, um, especially if you like snowmobiling and you went on long snowmobile tours, you can dig like a hole in the snowbank and sleep in a snowbank and it'll keep you warm. So snow is a good insulator. If you're having trouble, I guess that's what you would do for most animals. They would just burrow themselves in the snow and wait for it to warm up so that they can go outside. It's probably what rabbits do. Mice like to go inside during the winter time, but sometimes they probably have to burrow themselves in snow. That's probably the strategy. Let's just make that a triangle. Here we go. That's a good one. Okay, so once we get this done, it's just a matter of baking and texturing. And we're going to use the same technique we have for a bunch of other ones where we're going to do an overlay texture. So this is not going to look like rocks when we're done texturing it, but once we plug it all into the engine, it should look a lot like rocks. And then hopefully we can use these in the water to kind of give really cool effects, as well as maybe place some of these near the cliffs. We'll get some cliffs placed in there. We're going to use our spline cliff tool to generate a base, and then we will add some of these to kind of give it a little bit more personality. That should be fine. Something like that. Beautiful. We need to get this more defined. That's what we want right there. Nice and reduced. Okay, we just got to close this hole up and we're done. I really, we also got to do a couple of little bug fixes. Or balance tweaks, I guess is a more appropriate terminology. I want to do at least a little bit of gameplay stuff every week and not just do full art shit all the time. Because I do think we need to be constantly tweaking and adjusting things. And while I think the amount of work required to get stuff done feels a lot smaller on the gameplay side, a lot less demanding, it's also a lot more feedback based. So when you think you have something in there and you're like, okay, this is good, this is done, and then you play it for a bit and you go, oh, there's problems with this, there's problems with this. So what I want to do is get more incremental stuff done, get the updates out there, play test it, have other people play test it, and go, okay, this works here, this doesn't work here, this works here, this doesn't work here, and go from there. But in order to do that, you need to have these updates. So, one of the things I saw while playing the game was focus mode seemed like a little too slow for people, and they constantly were trying to get themselves out of the camera lock in order to create breathing room and sort of maneuver out that way. They naturally want the higher mobility, so I decided to ease up the speed on that, get that better. I also noticed a lot of people don't like the recovery in the stamina. It's too punishing, so we're gonna calm that down a little bit too. And then there's also just bugs. When you block with your shield, it sets your damage output to orthodox stance even if you're not focused. So we do need to put in a stipulation to prevent that, because people are able to block and attack outside of focus mode and harm combatants. And you shouldn't be able to do that. So I'm going to try and figure out a way to make sure that instance doesn't happen. And we'll probably look at that one tomorrow. But just kind of, I've generated a little bit of a list of things that need to be tweaked and fixed and looked at. The throwing axe, I also want to change to be a little bit more viable. All right, so those are all the rocks. Oh shit. This is 3. This is 2. Okay. Oh, we also want to make sure we select all of these. And we want to just... We're going to put them all into the same material. So that's 3. This is 2. And this is 1. There's our lovely rocks. Then we can just go ahead and export them. Or we already did all that. Bring him in here. This should go pretty smoothly. We'll make a 2K texture. Shore baking. Did Rooster stream it? Rooster streamed it on Sunday. And it went pretty well. He showed me the blocking bug because he wasn't supposed to be able to hit people outside of focus mode, and he was consistently hitting people outside of focus mode. So I do need to fix that. But he had fun playing it. Especially when he ran into the bear, he had a lot of fun playing with the bear. So we'll bring in the rocks first. So there's our first guy. So 2K is fine. We want this to be a PNG file. And we also have to shift this stuff over. So if I look at this, this is all right next to each other. That's not really acceptable. So instead, we want to do something like this, where everything is nice and separated and isolated from each other. We also want to make sure that we pull enough away from each other. So that there's tons to pull from. And then we just gotta bake it. So we'll just hit bake. Might get a little bit of stuttering because this is a pretty heavy... oh, no, it's just instant. Never mind. That looks like that's just part of the high poly. Same with that. There's just a little bit of like UV nonsense in there, but for the most part, those are our rocks. And we'll just do a quick save here. And get Substance Painter going. We don't have them all on one file, so it's we want them all to be the same texture, so we kind of have to do that. Oh boy. We'll do 2K. Because they're quite large, so we do want that resolution. So that's that. Then we just go into our smart material. And we have a specific texture for them. There we go. And we can come up here. Let's say, we want this actually to be just a little bit more prominent. Like that. That gives us really nice, interesting shapes here, right? You can really see a bunch of cool stuff happening. Then we should be able to export this. Act proper. Oh, actually, hold on. We gotta change the name of this. Sharp folder. We should be able to just go boop. Make that a proper. Targa. Look at that thumbnail. That's a beautiful thumbnail. There's our lovely little ocean. And now to bring stuff in. I do want to perhaps extend some of this. Although I don't think we're actually going to be able to cross. I don't know how we're going to do this. But from up here, this has to be a lot more land. But yeah, we're going to start somewhere over here. kind of work our way through till we get to around here. Sort of reclaim this beach area. Then we can go up through there. So there's quite a bit. Let's make our material. First, we need textures. Next, we need to make a material. So materials, instances, landscape. Not landscape. Okay, where did we save that under? Stone, probably. So we'll just take this this guy here. Call this sharp rock. Baked. Sharp. Folders. 1. Load this ugly bitch up. Look at it. Absolutely beautiful. Barely tell what's going on, but trust me, this is exactly what we want. You can see the details right there. It's because the pixel offset's pretty high. We'll make that. Now you can see what's going on. See it from a distance a little bit better. But that's our lovely little material. Now we just got to go into our meshes, import the meshes. So static. This is technically part of the landscape. Yes. edit them all together. Again, that artifacting comes from the pixel depth offset. It won't look like that when we put it in the game. Yeah, we should have a little bit better collisions here. So we're just over 1,000 triangles. We're going to add one LOD. We can probably get away with 64. We'll leave it at 64. So there's one. And we want to go to LOD1 here. At about, 0.4. We're going to make this 25%. Jack that up. This looks like a sleeping dragon. Taking his little nap. All right. We're going to go into foliage mode here. Density at 1. Scaling 0.75. 2. Doesn't really matter. Because we'll be selecting it and maneuvering it our own way. Make it static. Cast shadow. Block all collisions. Don't care about decals. This is mainly just scenery. I think that's fine. So then we're just going to go into single mode here. And we'll start with this guy. So you plop that big ass rock right in the scene. That's what it looks like. And we can just grab him. Go, well, actually, we want him in the water. Actually, a little bit bigger. A little bit farther out. See, I was smart when I set this up. You have a little bit of tint to it. So now the thing looks just a little bit darker. We have full control of the color of that rock. Color of all of them. Do that. Nice big rocky cliffs. There we go. This one's such a unique shape that it's very hard to utilize it in multiple instances. That's fine. We can just make things work. Okay. The next step here. Look at that. Completely botched it. Okay, that's fine. That's why we do these tests, because I know the landscape mode can be a little bit buggy when it comes to this stuff. Nice and prickly. So I like this. It's too close. So I'm going to take it, move it out, make it a little bit bigger. Beautiful. Then just have one more rock. here. Nice, big, spiky cliffs. Okay, let's go into landscape mode for a quick second. Just save it quick. Before we get carried away, let's make sure going into landscape mode doesn't break anything. Landscape mode didn't break anything. Now we're just going to sculpt something really quickly. Sculpting didn't break anything. So there we go. Those rocks will stay. And they'll be nice. Okay, next thing we want to do here is go into our blueprints and get some cliffs here. Okay. Ooh. It's very touchy. Just tuck you in. Thank you, Sar. We'll tweak the sculpting of the landscape to better match this as well. But for right now, I just want to get this blocked in. What I may also do I want to lighten the color up a little bit. So what we're going to do here in a minute, something kind of cool. There. That up a smidge. It's like a giant rock snake. There's only a couple more bends in this guy. Look at that. I can just do a quick little twist in there and to make that wiggle a little bit more. As we have pretty good control over that spline. Then we're just going to do 2 points here. 1, 2. That should finish off that curve. Kind of like that. Just touch you in a bit. Tuck you into bed. You want to grow. Out a little bit. And then just force that into the rock face. Kind of doesn't want to go in there. We're just going to make it. So there's our nice cliff. A lot more jagged points in there, but it's kind of dark. I would like to lighten it up. So what we can do... What can we do about that? We open up the blueprint. I think what I can do here is I can bump this all over. I like to have a variable that I can tweak the material. Now, I think these all use the same material. They don't. Okay, so... that doesn't work. I would still like a lighter color. Because it doesn't quite match. It matches in other color profiles, but because this is a different color profile, it doesn't quite match. So the trick is going to be... What's the trick? What if I... So I can get the material from it. But I can't set the material. You could add a material. I don't think that's what we want to do. I just want to have a variable so I could swap it out. Let me see really quick. Unreal 4. Set material variable. Not how I want to do it. What if we duplicate this? Call it light. O1_light. O3_light. O2_light. Not sure if this is going to work. Light. This is just faster. We're going to set the pixel offset to 0 for a second so we can see. Yeah, we just... Actually... No, we're not. I don't care. We're going to leave it alone for now. So instead of this one, we want light. This one, we want light. This one, we want light. That. So now the next trick that we're going to try here, and we'll see how this works. We select our asset here. Give it a sec. fucked it. Control Y. I fucked it. All right. Gotta do it again. I fucked it, so we have to do it again. That's how it's gotta be. Okay. Something like that. Start us off. Okay. It's still very dark. That's fine. We're gonna pick our cliff here. I don't know which one is which. It's this one. We're just gonna do a nice mid-tone like that. Okay. We're gonna grab this angle here. Force that to bend. Make that a little bit more round. There we go. And you can really start to see how this is going to work. Just how much better that matches the landscape. Like, beautifully matches the landscape. Okay, now we want to go yoink, 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 yoink. Just kind of pull it across. So drag it out there. Pull it out there. There we go. Then we can just go into landscape mode quick. It's like, yeah, that's a nice color. Don't you think? Then we can just go into landscape mode quick. Get the sculpt ready. Get our strength down pretty significantly, and we want to just bring our radius down so we've got a little bit more of a... Just kind of smooth that out. We want to kind of bring this up. And smooth it down. Sculpt it up. Actually, for right now, let's just add it. Like that. We'll use that erosion brush to kind of finish it. Smooth it all out. Like that. Let's see, what else can we do? We could just add some noise here. Not entirely sure. I thought I could get something that kind of pulled it and made it a little bit more jaggedy. Yeah, it just seems to want to do this. That's not a noise. Doesn't add noise to anything. Where'd our big island fucking go? God damn it, it disappeared as well. You know what? Fuck it. Foliage. Yeah, it deleted all of my stuff again. Foliage is only for weeds that we scatter. We're not going to use, for cliffs and natural stuff, we'll use our own blueprint instance tool. That'll be a lot more easy to focus with anyway. Because it just doesn't fucking work nice. Let's figure out how to make this noise brush work quick. There's our brush. Noise scale. There. So we want this to be like 5. And get the strength way down. Way down. Oh, we're in smooth. Like, how the fuck did that not work? Still too big, okay. Still too big, it is what it is. We gotta bring this down to like 1. Bring the strength up. That doesn't do anything. There it goes. Okay, so that's what we want. Just need the noise strength to be brought down. Okay, and then we're just gonna bring the radius up a bit. That's fine. Do that, and then we're just gonna go into smooth. Bring that strength down even a little bit more. And it's just a delicate back and forth. Okay, let's go back to the noise tool. That should be good enough. I'm fine with that. Maybe just a little bit more. Right there. Just a touch of noise. Okay. For the sake of speed, let's get this guy done and then we'll call it a day. FP, thanks for stopping in, dude. Where are my blueprints? We'll put in a 10 actor because we will be adding more later, but then we can just go static landscape. Let's get rid of this. I think it's only, there's no actual material. Just throw these guys in here. We'll be adding more shit later anyway. Fuck, we can even... Nah, we won't worry about it right now. Now that this is a static mesh, I should be able to just blow him up. We want our nice little island over here. So we can take this, copy, and just kind of, oops. Our fun little pointy island. We live and we learn, guys. We live and we learn. Lovely little rock cliff there. That's fine like that, but we can also do stuff like this. It doesn't just have to be poking out of the water. We can add another piece of rock here. Let's say I like this area here, but I want it to jut out a little bit more, so we can actually just... Oops. Let's not do that. It's fine then. You can say, well, this actually should be more like that. Look at how well that blends in. Take 2 here. It just adds little accents to our rocks. Maybe I want to like calm this down a little bit. We got this beautiful new scene. So we went a little longer than I anticipated today. So yeah, that's fun. We will call it here though. And yeah, I will do some stuff in the morning. I want to get some other stuff done. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's freaking out because there's a bunch of null static mesh properties because we haven't really fleshed this out any more than just this section, but we will flesh this out a lot more in the future. And we'll start implementing other assets into the game. But for right now, it should be good enough. I'm just building the lighting quickly. We're at 25%. So we're already a quarter of the way through it. It should load pretty quick because there's not a lot of assets in the game. The landscape's pretty big though. So the tweaks we did to the landscape are definitely going to take some time to bake. 65%. %70%. I wish I could show you guys it, but it's hiding under the overlay and I can't move the window over. But we're almost done. But enjoy the lovely scenery. We will be taking this cliff technology over to these parts here so that that gets fleshed out and this thing gets fleshed out more. Make it all kind of pop. Map check found some issues. Just warnings. Nothing wrong with the lighting results. Okay. I like that look. It feels very natural. Trying to find the perfect shot here. Let's go to 3. 3 is a good medium. This could be cleaned up a little nicer, I think. It's not terrible, but it's a little bit blah. But piece by piece, this is coming together. Piece by piece, this is starting to look a little bit more interesting. Now, I'm going to have a town. I'm going to have like a little town right here in this area. And then I want to have a light up here. Now, I don't think they had lighthouses back then, but they could have some sort of beacon built off of this. And then we'll have a couple of ships that are landed here. And I think that will be really cool. This is a better shot than what we previously had. That's a great shot. Oh my god, I'm so bad at clicking and dragging, man. Hand-eye coordination. Should be better. Alright, so tomorrow we're going to do a little bit more cleaning this up. And then we're going to put some cliffs over here. And then we're going to add some trees on the top of this thing to kind of flesh this out. Start adding some trees along here. Get this area fleshed out a bit. And then we're going to do a nice little town here. And a couple of other things. So we'll start doing that tomorrow. But I also want to do some of the gameplay stuff. I want to get my stamina to regen faster. At the very least, that's the one thing we do tomorrow. That's a win. Right now, we didn't have time, but maybe tomorrow. All right, guys. Let's see if we can go raid somebody. Why do they loot and plunder? Because farming and building shit yourself is gay. Why farm crops when you can just steal from the farmer? It's much easier. Yeah, we gotta tweak this a little bit. That's too much. Gotta fix it up just a smidge more. Like, this is perfect. This is a beautiful cliff. But then we kind of lose it a little bit over here. This is just... I don't even know what I'm looking at right now. So we gotta fix that. This one's okay. This is okay. Right here's good. It's literally just this spot here is really ugly. This area here is just disgusting. Do better. That's what the kids say, right? All right. Yeah, so let's go find someone to raid quick. Yeah, synth. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. And raid went through. All right, guys, that's it for me. See you later.